Let's wait for a short while.
Okay.
Okay, let me just do a quick check, yeah, because a lot of times, sometimes, well, it says live in in Zoom. You have to really wait for it to be really live in the Facebook. Okay. Okay, great. It's live right now. And let me just quickly make you co-host just in case. Yeah, sometimes I get dropped out of no reason.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box. And today we have a very special guest, a parents blogger, and her name is Meiling. Hello, Meiling.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Okay. Let me just do a brief intro first. Meiling is a parents coach and a mom blogger at Universal Scribbles. And you can find her at universalscribbles.com. And today we are going to discuss more on teaching our kids to rise above failures and pressures. All right, so Meiling, would you be able to share with us like some backstory, because probably some parents may be seeing you for the first time, and I love your background because it reminded me of my holidays.
Yes. I chose this background because we are not able to go on holidays now. So I thought, a relaxing conversation might be warranted here. And also, just want to share with parents who I believe that most of your parents are in the primary school years. That tell them not to worry so much. Their children will all be fine. They will all turn out okay, and life's a beach, and you will be able to relax at some point. Okay. So a little bit about myself. So I am a mom of two kids, and currently I have a son and a daughter. My son is now 16 years old, and my daughter is 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having a boy and a girl, they are both very, very different in temperaments. And I went through primary school with them, and like all Asian parents, I struggle with mathematics, struggle with them, acing it, struggling to help them. My son is he is very suitable for our Singapore academic system. So in terms of studying, that wasn't really much of a problem. It was more of a motivation for him. Being a boy, he's very easily distracted. So it was a matter of how then can I help him to settle down and focus on his work. My daughter, on the other hand, 2 years younger, she's very hardworking, like all girls, very, very sweet, very hardworking. However, she has a classic learning style, so which is not very suitable for our Singapore local system. So with her, she really struggled, and because she's very quiet, very sweet, very timid, she didn't dare to ask questions with the teachers, and a lot of times she falls through the cracks. So she really struggled. So I will share some stories with you later, how I brought her from a failing grade in mathematics all the way to a 96% teach. And that experience transformed her belief that she is a math, from being very bad at math, she believed that she's a math wizard. Okay, so I'll share that story with you later.
Yeah, then soon I believe that some parents are gonna ask you if you do math tuition.
Oh no, I'm actually very bad at math. Yeah, so from up to primary 4, I could still tutor them, but from primary 4, 5, and 6 onwards, primary 5 and 6 onwards, especially the problem sums, I have a lot of difficulty. Trust me. So this is when I have to turn to tutors to help. But before I turn to tutors, I have to make sure that my children's mindset and attitude towards the subject is have a strong foundation, because if they hate the subject, no matter how many times you send them for tuition, it's money down the drain, because they are also not progressing. So so I had to transform my daughter first before I get to the tutor part. Yeah.
Wonderful. When you talk about yes, I like the part when you say that you got to make sure that as a parent that your child likes the subjects. Yeah. So how do you, okay, there are two things that I want to ask you. One is how do you be aware as a parent that your child like or dislike subjects, and second thing is how do you motivate your child to like the subjects, because this is, I think, one of the biggest challenges that most parents face, that their kids hate math or dislike math.
Yeah. So so my kids, like most Singapore kids, didn't start off liking math. So they struggled with it for a long time. So one of the things that I did, especially when they were young, is of course play all this math game, right? But then but as they got older, math got a lot tougher, and our problem sums are insane, if I may put it that way. But it's doable because there is a logic behind it, which if you are trained in mathematics, the teachers can teach, right?
Yeah.
So, but for a non-math person like me, I find it insane, so I couldn't teach it. So what I did was, so with my daughter, at least, because she didn't like math and she was failing it, she didn't understand the concept. She was really struggling with it. So I sat her down, subject by subject, topic by topic. Every day we were going through it. Okay, so I have to help her understand the concept. So once she understood the concept, she got it. It was really easy for her. So it wasn't like she was too dumb, she couldn't do math. She used to believe that she's too stupid to do math, which is a wrong belief. Once she understood the concept, once she understood, oh, so this is why it happens. This is how I should be doing it. Once she could see the logic of it, she decided she loved math, and math became her favorite subject. And as I said before, she went from a failing grade in P3 to a 96% in P4.
Mm-hmm.
She even won an EduSave award. So that really transformed her, and she went through the last 6 months, the second semester of P4, telling all her friends and herself. The most important thing is telling herself, "I'm a math wizard." So that really transformed her.
Wonderful. And I caught the parts that every day you went through math with her. And I'm sure that as a parent, you are also very busy. So how do you find time? Because and the reason why I ask is because many parents I have coached. I told them they must be involved in their kids' life, and I do catch some feedback like, "Oh, John, this is a good advice, but I got no time. I got no time." Yeah. So
Correct.
what will you say to parents who
Yes.
who share this?
Very good question, John. So when I say I spend every day, because at that point in time, I committed myself to work with her because I felt that emotionally she was taking a real beating. So I needed to be there for her every day. So that was a personal decision for me, but understandably, not all parents can be there every single day. So what works for a child is knowing that every other day you are able, you sit down with your child and you schedule an appointment and say, this is our math time together. So we'll sit down and we'll do math. So in my case, I just told her every day I'm going to sit down with you, we'll do a little bit of math, okay? Like 15 minutes, half an hour of mathematics. So she doesn't feel it's so daunting. So you can also do it if you don't have time to sit with her every day. You can have a schedule like, every Tuesday evening or every Saturday afternoon, that's going to be our math time, okay? So that's number one, schedule it in. Number two, when you schedule in, don't just make it about just doing homework and just doing math and scolding her. So that time with her should also be somewhat a fun time, a pleasurable time. So she starts to have good memories of mathematics, because the association of a good memory will help her to look forward to the next math session. So she won't feel like, oh my God, it's math again. Yeah. So you've got to change that. So initially it was quite painful because painful for a mom, because I have to, spend a lot of time in the initial session watching her not do much math and watching her fail in a lot of math. But you have to, as a parent, you have to accept that, because you're trying to change the outlook of your child. So once the child's outlook on the subject has changed, then you can actually put in a lot more work and help your child along. Then it becomes easier, the process.
Wow. And I really like the parts that you say that because in my own experience, when a child doesn't do well in math, most parents that I talk to is, okay, let me find a tutor or let me get someone to help my child. Yeah, but throughout the conversation for the last 12 minutes, I caught so many I. Yeah, and I like the parts that you say that you are committed to help your child. Yeah, and I didn't catch any parts that you say that, oh, to help math you must learn these problem sums or that. Yeah, and you talk about a lot on the mindset shift. Yeah, would you be able to elaborate like what sort of mindset shift that we as parents need to do to start helping our own kids in instead of looking outward that if someone else is responsible for my kids' grades?
Well, I want to share this with you, John. So as a parent blogger and as a parent working with children, right? I want to share that if you talk to a lot of children in their primary school years, why do they want to do well for school? A lot of them will answer, because I want to please my mommy and daddy, because I want to do this to make my mommy and daddy happy. And so I think that helped me to understand the foundation that our children wants to succeed as much as we want them to succeed. Okay, so that is a mindset that the parents have to understand, that their kids are on the same page as them, but they're having some trouble reaching that level of understanding because they might have some difficulties or challenges. What are the challenges? It might be learning challenges. It might be difficulties in understanding concept. They might not have a good teacher who teach them well. So how I overcame it with both my kids is I actually sat down with them and asked them, what is it about this math that is so difficult for you? And I think because our kids in primary school, they are still so young, maybe from P3, P4, P5, P6, they are old enough to answer you, but they're too young to understand what is going on behind the scenes. So parents have to do a little bit of investigative questioning. So you have to sit down with them and say, when your teacher teach these concepts, do you understand what your teacher is saying? Because your child will tell you, actually, no, we don't understand. But the teacher just ramble on and then just carry on. And so they fall between the cracks. So then you have to, then you know that it is just the concept. The child does not understand the concept. You can also ask your child, you know, when we've taught you this, why do you keep making the same mistakes? Sometimes your child, the answers that they give you will surprise you. They know that, because I'm careless. Then you can ask them, if you know you're careless, what can you do to help? So for example, for boys, because boys like to play games, right? I always tell my son, okay, when you make all these careless mistakes, they are glitches. Do you think you can repair these glitches? Do you think you can correct them? And you know what? The boys get it immediately. You call them mistakes, you call them, the boys just switch off, but you call them glitches. That's computer talk, that's gaming talk. So they get it, right? And with my daughter, she likes to bake. So she understands all the formulas, right? The baking, and she does that really well. But when it comes to mathematics, somehow it's just jargon, you know? She just jumbles everything up. So when I use that same concept to explain it to her, suddenly again, it clicks for her. So your child has this, whatever your child's interest in, you can actually use it to help your child understand. And then if everything falls in place. It's as simple as that.
And it sounds like speaking the children's language and also based on what they like, so that it makes sense, not for the adults, but it makes sense for the kids in the kids' world.
Correct. Yes. And I'll tell you, as I said in the beginning, I'm not very good at math. Okay, I am the first to confess that. So my son is 2 years older than his sister. So there have been times when my daughter's in P5 and my son is in Sec 1, and I'll tell my son, can you explain it to her so she understands? And it works. I explain it to her 5 times and she doesn't get it. You know, he explains it to her and suddenly she's like, oh yeah, I get it. So it's child's talk. It's difficult to explain.
Besides child's talk, so what else do you think that makes a difference here when an older child try to explain to a younger child?
Sometimes I think our children have older children that they look up to, perhaps a cousin or an older friend. So you
Mhm.
can use that as a resource to help you explain things. Okay. Um, I think sometimes talking to a child's lingo, whether it's superhero or whatever, use that as a lingo so your child understands. And I think the third thing that is most important is if the child feels that as a parent, you are on their side, they are also they also feel a lot better, because then they're fighting a common enemy, which is mathematics. Not they don't feel so alone, like they're alone fighting this villain that is called mathematics, and nobody is there to help them because they don't understand the math teacher. Math teacher cannot explain to them, and then they go for tuition, and sometimes tuition. So sometimes when they go for tuition, if the tuition teacher also explain things to them and they don't understand, so that's why the parent has to come in and be the mitigator, to help find out, what is holding the child back.
Mhm.
So and then being able to communicate this to the tuition teacher or to the child, so that there is a better communication on both ends.
Mm. Wow, and it sounds really good because I think that as you're sharing, it seems to me that you also have a very close relationship with your kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've talked to many friends who are parents, and it seems like their growing up years also have somehow impacted on their parenting style. So would you be able to share like your growing up years and how it has also um, I would say affects your own parenting style on your own kids?
Okay. My growing up years, I am not. So my mom's very strict, very stern, and my dad is your typical Chinese dad. I mean, he's very nice and lovely, but dad doesn't get involved with the education part. So mom is the disciplinarian. So I have very strict parents who expect us to just study and get good grades. So and that's it. It's just very simple. Just study and get good grades, right? But of course, in these days, as parents, we parent our kids slightly differently. So while I would be the first to tell you, in my kids' eyes, I'm a tiger mom because I also tell them I expect you to study and get good grades. But at the same time, I throw in some Western best practices. I will talk to you and find out what are your challenges. I will be there to support you. I will be there to help you through your challenges. So it's through this, my kids know that while they're expected to get good grades, they are also not afraid to come to me and say, I'm in trouble, I need help, I don't understand what I'm doing. Yeah, can you help me? So they will accept some help from me.
Anything else that has affected like how you fine tune your parenting style to suit your own kids? Because I think that for kids as they're growing up, and their mood and their character also changes. Yeah. So how do parents like us like tweak the parenting style based on the changing characteristic of our kids?
Okay, so primary one, primary two, primary three, our kids are adorable, lovely kids. But primary four, primary five, you start to see a shift in our children. This is because the hormones kick in. They
Mm-hmm.
are, becoming young adults.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of a shift. So as parents, we have to understand things, understand these, right? So especially in primary five and primary six, our children's bodies go through rapid changes, whether it's growing in height, in size, they are developing in different ways. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a lot to deal with, and then their moods are also affected because of all these changes. So for us, understanding how your child operates, what the learning style, the temperament of your child, you can actually use that to your advantage. So how so? You can start to talk to your child. Find a way to communicate to your child. So one-on-one pacing is actually very good. So you have your one-on-one time with your child. You have, every child has a special time where they will connect with the parents. Some child is in the evening, some child is during meal times, some child is during the car ride home, perhaps, you know. So every child has their own definition. For me, I watch TV with my son. You know, back then he was very into Ben 10 cartoons, so I watch it with him. You know, that's how I connect with him. So and make sure that your connecting time with your child is not always about homework, about, you know, the subject, because that's where they associate. Then they are very guarded. So I think there's a lot of effort that you have to put in. And for some parents, because they have to work, sometimes it's quite a challenge. So I understand that. But I have noticed that it doesn't matter, even if they have to work, those parents who are able to carve out time of their busy schedule to specially connect with the child, and the child knows that this is special time with mom or dad, your children appreciate that and they understand it. So that's quality over quantity.
Wow, that's a great tip. Yeah, and probably I can also chip in a bit on how I connect with my girls. Yeah, because I have three girls, and in fact I do like set aside date nights with them. Yeah, at the same time, because I am the youngest kid that I have is 3-year-old, and she likes the show Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I've watched with her like over 10 times. Yeah, so I guess it's really connecting with your child at the level. Yeah, another tip that I learned from mommy, and another friend of mine is she does daily check-ins. Yeah, so she'll just text children like how are they, and she makes sure that she texts them once a day to ask them how are they. Yeah, so you can simple things like that. Yeah, so on your part, and I realized that family that has very strong bonds within the family, they also have the rituals. Yeah, would you be able to share with us some of the family rituals that you have that also you make it a purposeful one that must always be there? Yeah.
Okay. So our rituals is whenever any one of the child has a special program, whether it's a performance or it's a prize giving ceremony, we are there to cheer them on. So so brother and sister, we all attend as a family. That's one. We have we celebrate our birthdays, special occasions. Christmas is a really big thing for us, so we celebrate that as well. Once a month, I will go on date nights with either of the kids, so it's a special time with them, alone with me. We also do weekly Friday nights. It's just movie nights, so we watch a lot of movies. So there are a lot of movies that support parent-child bonding relations. There are a lot of movies about animals and family, very positive movies. So we will sit down, we'll watch it, and then we'll laugh about it. We will, talk about the movies and the positive messages from there. And we also try and do things that the child wants to do. You know? So for example, when we go on date nights, I will ask my son or my daughter what they would like to do. So it's not me saying, come with me and let's go and do this. I always say, okay, we're going out today. What shall we do today? So whatever they say, then we'll just do it.
And the keywords is like what we, instead of what I.
Correct.
Mom and I said so. That's why you must follow me.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Okay, so that's always the contention, right? That we are parents, so of course we should be the decision makers. But I think when children knows that they are involved in the decision making process, I think that's the magic potion. Okay. So what I mean is, some parents will say, okay, child, what shall we do today? Then the child would suggest something, and the parents say, no, that's not a very good idea today. You see, so when the parents say something like that, that negates the child, and the child will understand that whatever I say doesn't matter. So the child will then pull back. So I think it's very important to allow the child to have some say in their education process, in their growing up process. Because a lot of times I feel that the children feel very helpless, like they have no say in anything. So, yeah.
Yes, and in fact, I was looking through your website just before this interview started, and I know that there's a lot of great content in it. Would I be able to share with the parents, and probably can just bring us through like what are some of the resources that you have so that parents can read up more?
Okay. So for me, I like to write about I like to write about the children's education process, because that's really a big thing in our academic life, right? I mean, in primary school. Oops.
Yes, I have gone to the website. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your website, right?
So yeah. So so that's actually a yeah. So I like to say about you know, the education parts. So because it's such a big part of our Singaporean parents' life with our children, I like to explore what are some of the education processes available, and what makes my parenting side slightly different is I like to talk about you know, the children's voices. I find that sometimes their voices get drowned. So for example, grades are actually very important. Okay, so I'm one of those parents who feel that grades are very, very important, because that's how they level up. Not because I want my kids to always score 90% or 100%, but it's because I know that for them, this is how they level up to the next level. This is how they move, because PSLE, they look at your grades, then you can choose the better secondary schools for them. And then, you know, in secondary schools, if you want to choose certain subjects to study, this is also how, you know, grades also matter. Like if they want to go to science streams or art stream, okay? So that's why grades matter a lot. But for our children, for example, they might be interested in studying computer science, okay? But then they don't do well in their math, or they don't do well in their science. Then I will talk to them and say, but if this is where you want to go, computer science, but you don't do well in math and science, then how are you going to get there, right? For us as adults, it makes sense. But for the children, they don't think that way. So it's a matter of helping them to understand that grades help them to get them to where they need to go. And not because mommy just wants you to do well. So so because I have teenagers, so that's slightly different. But in primary school, the child's mental psyche might be different. So when you say things like this to them, always make sure that they understand what you said. Because I had this conversation with my son, and one day my son says, but I will get my 90% because that's what you want, mom. Okay, and that really made me pause, because for me, I had to explain to him, I don't want you to get the 90% because, you know, it's what I want. I need you to get the 90% because you can do the work, and it will help you to get into the class or the grades that, you know, will help you learn more things, you know, help you be where you want to be. So that's what I am trying to share with my son. And I think after that, he understood that, and he didn't always get good grades, but he understood that grades help him open doors. You know, so it was a very different understanding of, oh, I'm getting good grades because that's what mommy and daddy wants. It's a very different story.
Well,
Does that
and I
help
like
to
the
explain?
yes, and I like the parts because it really also helps me to remind myself that a lot of times we shouldn't just tell our children what we want, but it seems to you that you also have this like an adult conversation with your child to help them to understand and to also hear from them their points of view.
Yes, especially for parents whose children are sitting for PSLE, you'll be surprised. At P5 and P6, our children are actually quite mature, and they really do understand, and they really want to do well for the parents. So if they want to do well, the desire is there, but it's the journey, the mechanics. I always call it the mechanics, how to get there, you know? And that's where our children are stumped because they don't know how to get there. So as parents, we have to help them get there. And that's the whole premise of my blog.
Do you have specific articles that you have shared about how parents can follow the mechanics? Do you have any pages that parents can really benefit from? So I can just paste the link in the Facebook post.
I do have some. Maybe I can share that with you later, and you can post it.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm now what I'm trying to do now is trying to navigate and also to find out even for myself like what are the resources that I can offer to my parents.
Okay. Maybe look under education.
Education. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think I have one. If you scroll down, okay. So for example, composition writing, introduction ideas. So this is one of our very popular posts, and how to score an A-star in composition writing. So this
one,
would
right?
be, yeah. And even number 3, you can share that later. So I don't have anything on mathematics at the moment, but so again, like composition, because I'm a writer, so English is my strength, right? So I find that a lot of times students will be struggling with English, with writing composition, because or even comprehension and even close passage, and they don't do very well in it. They lose points. And if you ask the English teacher will tell them, oh, they just need to read more books. They need to, know their vocabulary, which is all very good insights. But if you have to write a composition, you have to be able to know how to draw the reader in. So you need to have a good introduction. You need to know how to, formulate your story so that it makes sense. So these are the mechanics. This is what I mean by, if you just tell the child, you read more books, then your English will be very good. The child doesn't understand, right? Just like your mathematics, you do more practice your problem sums, keep practicing, keep doing. The child doesn't understand. So you have to explain the mechanics. So if you want your mathematics to do well, you need to know your fractions. You need to know problem sums. And when my son was going through P6, my son and my daughter, we were very specific in doing papers. And when we do the papers, we will circle the ones that they are particularly weak at. And every child is different. You will be able to pull out certain that are certain if you tell me there are certain, especially those numbers where you have to lump them together. You see, I'm very bad. So for example, ratio, right? Some kid will be like, I don't understand ratio. It's so difficult for me, right? So if you keep telling the child to keep practicing, the child doesn't get it. So you have to explain ratio is this way. There are certain steps to do it, because I know from tutoring, I mean from going through the tuition teachers, right, that there is a certain mechanics of doing these questions. Yeah. And also when you read your problem sums, the problem sums give you clues, but the child has to know how to find the clues. So those are the mechanics that you have to help your child understand. When your child understands that, they will automatically know how to do it, and then they can practice doing it until they are good at it.
Yes, and I totally agree with it. Yeah, it's like the clues are all sprinkled on the paper in the form of text.
Yes.
Yeah, but many children are not taught how to fish them out.
Correct.
Yeah, probably the advice from that what most kids get is go read more, go and do more, go and talk more or speak more English, and you'll be fine. But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't. And when we give advice, when they hear advice like this, it's like hearing a foreign language. They don't understand what it means to them. So, but when you tell the child, okay, for composition, in order for you to improve, This is what you need to do. This is how you do it. This is what you need to look at in order to understand what the comprehension passage is trying to tell you. So when you are able to give them this kind of mechanics, they will know how to do it. And then it's a matter of practicing with them to help them get better at it.
Yes, and I really like the contents that you have written. Yeah, I mean, if I have interviewed you last week, I can share this parts with the kids because they just had their PSLE oral on last Thursday and Friday. Yeah, great. Yes, actually, in fact, in the recent weeks, I did a survey with my parents in our Facebook group, and I asked them if they are if they want to choose a tutor who is good in math or a tutor who is good in explaining. Almost all of them chose someone who is good in explaining, and I really like what you said, that explaining is a key because it is the one that bridges the content with the child in their own language.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I find that, so I don't want to get myself into trouble, but I find that sometimes in primary school, the teachers don't explain enough to our children, and our children are too young because they're in primary school. They don't know what they don't know, right? They're too young to come back and explain to us what they don't know. So that's why they're caught in that vacuum, and it's very difficult to get out. So that's why I said the parents need to do some investigative digging to understand what is their child's lacking, and then help them to fill those gaps.
And this is the reason why I like what you're doing, because I think you are one of the very rare parents who really took the responsibility to educate and to help their own kids. Yeah, because I think that many parents that I've talked to, yes, they want to help their own kids, but sometimes also they lack the skills and the time to help them. Yeah, so which is why I'm doing this series of talks to really help to get help from parents like you to be able to share the knowledge so that other parents will find that actually it's not so hard after all to support my own kids.
Yes. Actually, I want to tell you that I don't know a lot of things. Okay. I don't know mathematics. I cannot, like I said, problem sums is a foreign language to me. I cannot explain it. But again, it's the mindset, right? These are your children. If you don't support them, who will, right? So we have to first manage our own mindset. Okay, we need to help our kids. Then the second step is, how do we help our kids? Helping our kids is not just pushing them to tuition centers and teachers. You can help them by helping them to understand what is the problem, because our kids actually don't even know what's the problem. If you ask a lot of primary 4, primary 3 kids, why you don't know mathematics? What is it that you don't understand? Actually, a lot of them don't know how to answer you. They just say, I don't know, right? So that's why the parents have to come in and investigate a little bit, talk to the teachers, find out what is the problem. Is it because they don't know how to do things? Are they short in certain things? Then once you know the problem, you can find a solution. And tuition is one solution. If you don't know, like for me, I don't know math, I have to farm up my tuition. I also farm up Chinese because the higher they go, Chinese gets harder.
Yep.
I don't know how to explain. So all this I have to farm out. But if I understand what my kids' problems are, I can help them to solve it. And trust me, the children are very appreciative that you as a parent help them to solve it. They are relieved as well, because now they feel like they have a superhero on their side. And the superhero are the parents.
Yeah. And I always told the parents that they have to be the best supporter for their own kids. Because if everyone in the world give up on their kids, they are the last line of defense.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that I want to learn from you is that because many of our parents actually shared with me that even though their kids are P5 and 6, but they start to exhibit the teenage behavior, and some are quite lost in how do they manage it. Yeah, so would you be able to share with us like what are some of the ways that you tried and it works for you while protecting the relationship between the mother and the child?
Okay. Yes. So at P5 and P6, the sassiness comes in, right? The teenage, the mood, right? They don't want to talk to you. So one of the things that I listed, the kids need to know that they have a lot of resources outside of the parents, right? The parents also can know that they also have resources. Who are the resources? The tuition teacher, the experts. So when my child starts to feel like they don't want to listen to me, that what I'm saying, is rubbish, I will then say, all right, fine, you take a step back. Okay, you need to move back. Give them the space. Go and talk to your tutor or the teachers, school teachers. Get them, explain your challenges with your child, your concern, and have your teacher talk to your child, because the teacher is the other authority that the child respects. So that's one way. Then the second way is when your child, you see, your child is still in that very adorable but very frustrating stage whereby they're still a child, but they're trying to explore being an adult, an older child, right, with their sassiness. So, and then plus with the mood swings, right? So they are very confused themselves. They don't understand. So find the right time to talk to them. So with boys, I find doing an activity with them helps. Okay, when you're talking to them, don't just sit them down and talk to them. They get very frustrated. So go for walks. Yeah, go for walks. Play a game with them. While you're playing a game with them, you can talk to them. Doing housework, while she's cleaning the dishes, she's helping you to clean the dishes. She's doing something, you're doing something. So there's no eye contact, but you're talking. Okay, so that helps. With girls, I find the bonding session, especially with moms, doing things together helps. So whether it's drawing or, you're doing some, last time my daughter was very into slime, so doing that a little bit with them, that helps. And she loves to bake. So while she's baking, I'm just stirring things, helping her wash the dishes. I'm talking to her. So that helps. Yeah, so there's no need to directly talk to them. So I find that helps because it reduces the aggressive, they don't feel like they're being attacked. So for a lot of children, especially at this age, the word that comes out is, are you attacking me? I feel very attacked, So in order for them not to feel that, you have to be their peer. So that's the time when you're doing things with them, you are their peer, so they don't feel so attacked. So that's the best time to talk to them.
And it sounds to me that it's not to go head on. It's not to get your child to come and say, come and sit down with me and I'm going to talk to you. This is I think the no for parents.
Correct, yes.
Because both are going to go head on and it's going to erupt into an explosion.
Yes, and and even for myself, I went through it. It's called the transition phase, right? Because P1, P2, P3 is always the parent dictation, right? Parents say, the child will follow because the child is young. But then at P4, middle of P4, P5, they start becoming teenagers. That's when they start to change. So the parents have to learn, the transition phase is learn to pull back and let the child come forward, okay? And that's always the toughest phase for a lot of parents because they've been so used to dictating and being the instructor. So suddenly they have to switch. They cannot be in the driver's seat anymore. So that's the toughest part for a lot of parents. But it's called the transition phase and you can do it. It helps. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm learning so much because I know that my eldest is already 10. Yeah, but sometimes she's also behaving like a preteen. So I tried in the past, I made a mistake and I go head on, and I think she burst into tears. Yeah, so right now I give her more space, and I realized that she did talk to me more, and she shared with me things that she wouldn't share with me in the past. Yeah.
Yes.
So giving them the space actually works, because it's like moving backward for them to move forward, so that they can have space to move forward.
Yes, that's right. And because the child wants to move forward, so that helps. And the other thing is, watch your tone when you're speaking to them. Be very mindful that you are allowing them. So watching your tone means, don't say, "Can we talk now?" You know, that's very fierce, right? Very like a parental. It's like, are you ready to talk now? Can I have a conversation with you? It sounds like you are asking them for permission, which is also a way of moving back so that they can move forward. Because in order for them to give you permission means that they're moving forward to you. Yes, we can talk now. So that's how it works. It's a bit of a dance, and every parent and child at this age have to find their right time. So I won't be I won't tell I would be very honest and say you have hit and misses. So sometimes you get it right and sometimes you get it all wrong. Yeah, but it's okay. It's a learning process for both of you.
Yeah, and it sounds really helpful, because I think it's like how adults ask and another adult for permission to talk about something that is complicated. Yeah,
Yes.
so let's say we imagine ourselves in the office, and we want to say we confront someone else, but we go up there and say, can I talk to you now, because I need some help or something like that. Yeah, so I think it works the same way with our children. When we respect them, they also will respect us in return.
Correct. Yes, it's a two-way street, and this is the best time to teach them that lesson. Yes, you're absolutely correct, John.
Yes, and I think this is very helpful, because I have my own experience, because I do keep in touch with parents who have left our center after many years, because their kids have already graduated from primary 6. Yeah, so there's a mom who came to me and she started to ask me, John, and I need your help. Now my child is Set 1. Last year, she talked to me, but now this year, she's so quiet and I'm so scared. Is there something wrong? Yeah, but I also know that this mommy, she practices more of like a top-down approach. Yeah, so when the child was younger, she could only say yes. But now when the child is grown up, she realized that she has her own voice as well. So there's a lot of tension going on. Yeah.
Correct.
So I really hope that the parents can learn what you're doing much earlier to prevent all this from happening in the future, and it can be done like what you've done for your own.
Yes. Yes, absolutely correct. So I've got teenagers now. So my son is 16, I mentioned, and my daughter is 14. So before the COVID, I made it a point to make sure that our house is an open house so that friends can come over to chit chat. And so that's also one of the feedback that I've heard very often from my friends, my child's friend, that the parents don't allow them to speak, or they don't have any voices in the decision-making process of what they would like to do and how they would like to study. So that frustrates the child a lot. So primary school years, especially P5, P6, is the best time to build that relationship. But I do want to bring up a point, because a lot of children are in primary 6 PSLE year, right? 11 and 12. It's a very tough, challenging year for parents as well, because they have to manage the child's studying academics progress towards PSLE, but they also have to be mindful of the child's mood swings, So it's a bit of a push and pull, push and pull. So it's very challenging for parents, yeah. So for me, I always feel that PSLE is the worst year for our kids to take. They're going through so much hormonal changes, so it's challenging.
And when you're saying that, and I was thinking probably can change to P5 or maybe push it back.
Yeah, or maybe make it slightly later in 13, 14. Yeah. But when your child reaches Sec 1, Sec 2 level, especially from Sec 2 and Sec 3, the teenage years is when they really go quiet. So there's a lot of coming home, putting down their bags, immediately walking to their room, shutting the door. Okay, so that's quite normal for teenagers. So how I actually went through that is, just let them come to you, but you have an open invitation. So how I do that is whenever you want to talk to me. So my son would come and he would flop on my bed and then he would start talking to me and I'll have a conversation. This would be at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. before he goes to bed. Okay. Other times, the only thing he will say to me is, "What's for dinner?" Is anything to eat. So you do have to learn to let go, which is why I said that letting go part, that's the scariest for a lot of parents. It's challenging, yeah.
And when you're sharing that, it reminded me of my experience of flying a kite. Yeah, and there's a time that's when I pulled too tight and the string broke, and my kite flew off. So I think bringing it back to the sharing here is like sometimes we as parents want to protect our children so much that we pull too tight, that we let our children slip away with from our fingers.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. And if I have to leave you with one tip, all I can say is you just have to let your child know you're here for them. Just tell them I love you and I'm here. Whenever you want to talk, I'm right here. Okay. And make sure your demeanor is not so fierce. Like I said, I'm a tiger mom. My kids will tell you. But over time, they have, and through a lot of conversations, they've realized that despite the fact that I'm a tiger mom, but I love them so much, and that they will come and talk to me. So being there for your child, send an invitation to your child, whether you write it down, send them a text, write them a love note, or openly say it to them, right? And tell them, I'm right here whenever you want to talk. You can talk to me about anything.
Yeah, probably. I think that there are many parents who are online right now, and also for parents who are watching this when you're free. And I guess let me just share with you what I got out from Meiling. Yeah. Though you say that you're a tiger mom, yeah, but the tiger mom that I've read in books they are those with the door of the cages closed. Yeah, but for you you're a tiger mom, which you said you are, but I can hear that your cage door is open. Yeah, and you are always trying to get your children to engage in conversation with you or the other way, so that the flow is both ways. And it's not like what we read from books like the tiger mom say, you do this, you do that because I say so. Yeah, but yours is like, let me hear from you what you want and we can discuss. Yeah. So I thought probably to share with parents that you're a special tiger mom.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
But if you observe from the animal kingdom, the tiger mom always guides her cubs, but she never forbids her cubs from wandering off. If the cubs wander off too far, tiger mom will be there to make sure that the cub come back. So that's the new version of tiger mom.
Yeah. Because what I'm scared is some parents may take it the wrong way and they go back home and I want to be a tiger mom now because it works for you, so it works for me. Then it's like go head on. Then oh no, it's a wrong idea.
Yeah. Every parent is different. Every child is different. So it depends on your the blend of parent and child. So you find your own what works for you and your child. Communication is key. It's really the key to having a strong relationship with your child.
Great. Yes, and if the parents want to look for you, how can they contact you?
They can go to my website, universalscribbles.com, to look for me. They can look me up on LinkedIn, Mei-Ling-Wong. Yeah.
What about your Instagram? Is it okay? Because I pasted it inside your...
I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well, and they are all under the handle of Universal Scribbles.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
So for parents, if you want to reach out to Meiling and want to find out more things from her, you can just contact her at this website or Instagram. Yeah. Okay, Meiling, I know that you have answered my last question, yeah, because you asked yourself the question and then you answered it. So now I don't need to ask. Yeah, but I always have one last question for our guests because we serve a Facebook group of parents who teach their children math at home, just like you. Yeah, so okay, so my question for my guests is and also for you, um you know that now PSLE is coming soon, right? It's like within like 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so the children are feeling very anxious or tense up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now may I invite you to go back down your memory lane, yeah, to your younger self. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you walk and you walk and then you meet the 12-year-old Meiling. Yeah, and
Okay.
she's so close to you that she's looking at you. Yeah, and then you can almost feel her. What will you tell her from the older self to the younger self? No right or wrong, can be anything.
I will tell her that um, there's no need to be so stressed because life has a way of working things out,
Mm-hmm.
and that your parents, no matter mom and dad, no matter how fierce they are, they have our best interest at heart, and they really do. They really love us, love you, and have your best interest at heart. And whatever they say, however you feel, whether it's right or wrong, they are looking out for you.
Anything
That's
else
what
you
I
want
will
to add?
tell her. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, because my mom and I were not the best of friends growing up because she was so fierce, so fierce. But I would tell my 12-year-old self that she will mellow out, and she truly loves you, and she truly just wants you to, be the best that you can be. That's what I'll
Wonderful.
say.
Wonderful. Yeah. So maybe you can right after this give your parents a call.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me on this channel, John.
Yes, and thanks so much for your time because I really learned a lot from you, and those tips that you share about bring up teenagers really can prepare me in advance.
I think you're doing a good job yourself. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, don't go off first. I will start the Facebook Live. And parents, thanks so much for being here. And we'll see you again in the next sharing. That will be tomorrow at 8 o'clock, whereby we are going to bring up a father and his daughter, and she's 17 years old. Yeah, so you're going to get them to share about what the father did well, and also what the father and what the daughter like about what the dad did in the growing up years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
everyone.